The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Carl Jung. Let that quote slap you in the face. Because right now, you're tolerating people who don't even know who they are. You're tolerating lies disguised as loyalty. You're tolerating disrespect dressed as just being honest. And worst of all, you're tolerating your own silence. But Carl Jung, the man who cracked the human psyche wide open, left warnings. Warnings we ignore at our peril. And today, we're not playing nice. We're going into the shadow, into the raw, ruthless territory of 5 behaviors you must never, ever tolerate. Not from lovers, friends, family, or yourself. Because if you do, they'll rot your soul from the inside out. Let's go. Chunk. Passive aggression, the coward's weapon of the shadow. Let's call it what it is, emotional warfare dressed in smiles. You know that person who says, "I'm fine," but you feel the emotional temperature drop 10 degrees? Or the lover who forgets important dates only after you set a boundary? That's not forgetfulness. That's punishment. Carl Jung would call this a repressed shadow defense. When someone refuses to own their anger, their envy, their need for control, and instead, they sabotage you through subtle, soul-eroding games. Passive aggression is the mark of a person who hasn't faced their own rage. And if you tolerate it, you become the emotional sponge they bleed on. Stop absorbing other people's psychological vomit. If they don't have the courage to be direct, they're not strong enough to stand beside you. You want mature love? Mature friendship? Then demand this. If you're upset, say it with your chest. Otherwise, walk. Guilt tripping, emotional manipulation disguised as concern. You never call me anymore. If you really loved me, I guess I'm just not a priority. Sound familiar? Guilt tripping is the emotional leash of the unhealed inner child. It's what people do when they don't know how to ask for their needs directly. So they twist your emotions until your self-worth is on your knees. Carl Jung would call this a projection of the wounded archetype, the victim complex. People who see themselves as powerless try to dominate through pity and shame. Don't fall for it. If someone can only feel close to you by making you feel like a villain, that's not love, it's manipulation. You weren't born to carry people's emotional blackmail like a cross. You want to be free? Then burn the guilt contracts, rip them up. Say this: I don't respond to shame, only truth. Watch how fast the manipulators retreat. Chronic negging or undermining, death by 1,000 cuts. Oh, you're doing that now? You look good, for your age. I guess you're smarter than you look. You know this one, negging, isn't just a tactic used by sleazy pickup artists. It's a strategy used by deeply insecure people to feel superior. It's the slow erosion of your self-worth through subtle contempt. Jung spoke about the inferiority complex, when people project their own inadequacies by making you feel small. Because deep down, they can't stand your light, so they try to dim it. This is how envy hides, not in open attacks, but in sarcastic jabs, fake praise, and quiet sabotage. If someone can't celebrate you when you rise, if their support comes with a side of salt, cut them loose. Because over time, you'll start to believe their lies. You'll start to question your shine, and that's how they win. Your soul needs sunlight, not shade. Gaslighting, the psychological hit and run. You say you're hurt. They say, you're being sensitive. You catch them lying. They say, that never happened. Gaslighting is not a misunderstanding. It's psychological warfare, the systematic attempt to rewrite your reality. Carl Jung saw this as a form of shadow projection, where a person cannot face their own guilt or flaws, so they make you question your sanity instead. Let me be clear. If someone constantly makes you feel confused, paranoid, or like you're walking on eggshells, you're not crazy. You're being emotionally assaulted. The gaslighter's goal is to turn your self-trust into smoke. Because if you can't trust your own thoughts, they can control the script. Don't play the lead role in someone else's delusion. If your truth is constantly denied, manipulated, or twisted, walk away. Fast. And when you go, don't explain. They already know. Pathological selfishness, the black hole of narcissism. Some people aren't looking for connection. They're looking for supply. They don't love you. They love what you give them. Your attention, your care, your validation. And the second you stop performing, they discard you like a broken toy. These people are walking hunger ghosts, emotionally underdeveloped, psychologically hollow, and as Jung warned, when the ego becomes inflated and disconnected from the soul, it turns into a tyrant. They don't apologize. They don't introspect. They don't evolve. They just extract. You'll pour your heart in, and they'll call you too emotional. You'll share your dream, and they'll make it about them. You'll hit rock bottom, and they'll ask why you're not available. These people will drain you until you don't recognize your own reflection. Do not negotiate with narcissists. Starve their ego. Reclaim your power. Your kindness is sacred. Don't waste it on those who see it as weakness. The hidden danger. When you tolerate these behaviors in yourself, here's the twist. Sometimes the person we most need to stop tolerating is ourselves. The passive aggression when we bottle things up and expect others to read our minds. The guilt tripping we do in our heads. I should be further by now. I'm not enough. The negging we turn inward. I look disgusting today. The gaslighting we do when we doubt our own intuition. The selfishness of staying small so others feel safe. You tolerate these habits in your soul, and they rot you slowly. Carl Jung didn't just expose the shadows of others. He dared us to confront our own. Because here's the truth. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. The real destruction happens when we internalize these behaviors as normal. When we date dysfunction, sleep next to sabotage, and call it loyalty. Stop confusing tolerance with love. Stop mistaking peacekeeping for peace. Stop betraying your soul in the name of not rocking the boat. You are not here to drown in silence. You are here to set fire to every lie you were taught to tolerate. The final reckoning. What you permit, you promote. This isn't just self-help. This is soul survival. Every time you let disrespect slide, you reinforce it. Every time you smile through pain, you teach them that your silence is for sale. Every time you tolerate what wounds you, you raise your children to repeat the cycle. Enough. This is your awakening. Draw the line. Speak the truth. Cut the cord. Face the shadow. Love yourself like a revolution. Because one day you'll look back and realize the things you refused to tolerate were the very things that saved your life.